Good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Sibicho doing the presentation on accounting, the subject accounting. I'm teaching at St. Bernard's High School. You are welcome, and I believe you're going to follow the topic very well. I'll be doing the first part of the June 2015 accounting memorandum with you. Thank you. All right. When we look at this question paper, it was a very fair question paper. I'm going to start with question 1, the reconciliation. The BRS, as I show you there on my screen, it's question 1, reconciliation. It's 50 marks, 30 minutes to go. All right. Here we start with our first question, which says, why is it necessary to do a bank reconciliation at the end of each month, and give 2 reasons for it? We have various responses here. The first response is, it is an internal control measure. It is an internal control measure to verify the correct balance of the bank account, to follow up outstanding checks and deposits, to correct errors and omissions. Any 2 acceptable answers will give you 2 marks, 4 marks. So any of those 2 will give you 2 marks. So you'll benefit 2 marks from those. This is a question that keeps on repeating in every question paper. So here, I believe most of you did well on it. Then when we look to our next question, which is 1.1b. They say a check dated on the 25th of July 2015 was received from a debtor on the 25th of May 2015. On what date will it be entered in the cash receipts journal? On what date will it be entered on the cash receipts journal? This is mainly a post-dated check. So this check will only be entered in the CRJ on the 25th of July 2015, on the day when the money will be available and when you'll be able to get that money. So for this response, you will be awarded 1 mark on it. When we move on with the question paper, 1.1.2, Simpiwe traders. Number A, calculate the bank balance of Simpiwe traders on the 31st of May 2015. State whether the balance you have calculated is favorable or unfavorable. Show all workings and calculations. You may use a bank account to assist you in your calculations. Right. So this one will require us to look into our question paper. Now when we go to the question paper, it's on page 3 and 4 of the question paper. Let me just try to reflect it for you quickly. All right. We will mainly look on this information here. Right. Information number A, there's a question that we are doing currently now. It's for 12 marks. We will look at information number A here, the extract from the BRS of the previous month, 31st of April 2015. And then we'll also look at information B, right? There where we have the cash receipts journals opening totals and cash payments journal opening totals. We'll also make use of information on page 4 of the question paper, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L. All that information is what we are going to use in order to calculate the correct bank balance. Right. Now, remember, in any bank account or any leisure account, before you start to do anything, you have to start with an opening balance. Now, for us to prepare that, we need to make use of information A. Information A will help us to start with our opening balance of the bank account. Now, when you look at this previous BRS, we have a balance as per statement. It's favorable. Normally, when it's favorable, it will go on which side? On the credit side, right? And then here we have outstanding checks. These checks are listed per number 153, 157 and 167. All these checks will be on the debit side. Then we have outstanding deposit. This outstanding deposit is 1,825. And this outstanding deposit will also be on the credit side of the BRS. Right? So remember, there it's a credit, there it's a credit. All these outstanding checks will then be on the debit side of your BRS. Now here was not clearly stated to you on which sides they are, but it's imperative for you to know on which side they belong. Now when we take our calculator, you will now add the credits, these two credits, you add them, right? And then you subtract all these amounts on the debit side. 925, 3,800, 2,050, you subtract them, and then the result that you get there will be an unfavorable bank account balance. So when we look at, when we look at our bank account, that balance goes on the credit side of your bank account when you make use of a T account. Right? So that bank balance that we've determined goes there on the credit side because it's an unfavorable bank balance. Right. So again, what did I do? I used my previous BRS. I took the credit balance as per bank statement, and I also took the outstanding deposit, added them together, and then I subtract all these debit outstanding checks. Then the result was a negative 100 rand. That 100 rand, I transfer it to my leisure account, bank account that I'm preparing in order to get my balance. It goes on the credit side 100. Correct? Right. Then the next step will be to now also use B, whereby I take my cash receipts journal and my cash payment journal information. The cash receipts journal, I take it to the debit side of my bank account, and then the cash payments journal, I take that amount on the credit side of my bank account. Those are my beginning totals, or my totals as per journals. So I've used information A to get my opening balance of the bank. There, I've used my information A to get my opening balance of the bank. I used information B to get my beginning totals of the journals when I prepared my bank ledger account. Right? So I have the 15,350 on the debit side from the CRJ. My opening balance was unfavorable, 100 there, and then 12,380 was my CPJ figure. Right? Now next, I will now consult other information. I go now to C. C, on comparison of the bank statement for May 2015 with the cash journals for May 2015 and the bank reconciliation statement as at 31st April 2015, the following differences were revealed. So now I'm comparing my my bank statement, current bank statement, with my journals and with my previous BRS. There are 3 items that I need to compare with. Then the following differences appeared. Bullet number 1. They say a check number 157 was presented for payment on the 12th of May 2015. Now remember, I'm comparing 3 things. Number 1 is my previous bank statement, my journals. So let me go and check, or let us go and check that check if it's not on my previous BRS as yet. When I look at my previous BRS, there is it, check number 157. So it is there. What are they telling us here? They are telling us it does now appear on the current bank statement. So normally what do? If such kind of an item appears, then we take no action. So everything is fine there. We look at the next bullet. Check number 163 was issued to Ngwate Soup Kitchen as a donation. The soup kitchen has since been closed and the check must be cancelled. So it's check number 163. Number one, let's go and check in the previous BRS because we compare three things here. Our previous BRS, journals. In the previous BRS, there is check number 163. It was there. But now, this was a donation. All right? It means it's a check that was supposed to have been given to, it's a check that was supposed to have been given to Ngwate Soup Kitchen as a donation. Now all of a sudden the soup kitchen is closed and the check must be cancelled. Right? So if we cancel a check that we have issued before and the check was not yet withdrawn, this will be the action. I will have to take it to my my bank account on the debit side. Remember, the debit side of my bank represents the CRJ. Right? The debit side of our bank represents the CRJ. So this check will be reversed back into our CRJ. There is it, 2050. Right? So the check has been cancelled now, increasing our bank account. Right? This side is our credit side. This side is our debit side. You know your bank decreased there and it increases there because it's an asset. All right. Now let's look at the other information. We've done bullet 1, bullet 2. Now we go to the third bullet. All right. A deposit of 1,825 appeared on the bank statement on 1st May 2015 and not in the cash or not in the journals for April 2015. So it's a deposit of 1825 appeared on the bank statement on the 1st of May and not in the journals for April 2015. All right. Now, number one, we again go and look into our information A, which is our previous BRS. Do we have that 1,825 item as an outstanding deposit on the previous BRS? So it is there, right? And then here they tell us, on this bullet they tell us, it does appear now on the bank statement of which month? Of May. So if it does appear, what is our action? We take no action, or we make no entry because everything is fine there. All right? I hope you are still following. This is quite an easy topic, and it's one of the topics where you can score good marks. Right? Now when I look at the next information, D, they say no entry has been made for check number 191. 1,630 is the figure, dated 11th of June 2015, issued in favor of Brink distributors for stock purchased. Right? So they say no entry has been made. Okay? If no entry has been made, so it means it's not in our journals. It will not even reflect on our bank statement. So it means we'll need to update our books, number one. So this check will have to go on the credit side of our bank account to decrease the bank account because it's a check, a CPJ entry, right? And then as well, we need to also take it to our BRS. So we take it to our BRS there. When we look at our BRS, we take it there as a debit. Let me just show it quickly for you, right? we show it there as our debit outstanding check number 191, 11th of July 2015. There is it as well in there, right? Because this check, we did not make any entry for it, so the first thing, we will include it under our bank account when we calculate the correct bank balance on the credit side. We will also transfer it into the current bank reconciliation to make the bank aware about this particular check that has to be reflected in the next bank reconciliation, the next bank statement, sorry. Right. Now when we look at the next information, they say E, right? The next information is E. They say, in the cash receipts journal, an entry was made on the 31st of May 2015 in respect of a deposit 8,730, which did not appear on the bank statement. So this item appears in our journals. Which journal? The cash receipts journal. Right? An entry was made on the 31st of May in respect of this deposit, which did not appear on the bank statement. So if something does not appear on our bank statement, which document will we use to notify the bank that this is supposed to reflect? We will make use of our BRS. So this will go into our BRS of the current month as what? Credit outstanding deposit. What is the figure? 8,730. Right? Because the deposit appeared in our journals but not on the bank statement, where will we take it? We will take it to the BRS on the credit side, 8,730. So for that, you get a mark. Then the next question, or the next information is based on E. E says, in the cash receipts journal, an entry was made on the 31st of May 2015 in respect of a deposit 8,730, which did not appear on the bank statement. Right? I'm repeating that quickly for you again. What entry will we make? We will take this amount to our BRS. The BRS credits outstanding deposit. There it goes, 8,730. You will be awarded 1 mark for it. Right? Now we move to information F. Information F says, check number 157, 450, issued to Mandla Stores, was lost in the post. The check was stopped and replaced by check number 197. The entries have been made, but check has not yet been presented to the bank for payment. Right? So now this check was issued, it got lost, it was stopped and replaced with another check. Those entries were made. But now this check does not appear in the bank or was not yet been represented for payment at the bank. So immediately what action will you take? With this check, you will reflect it in your current BRS as debit outstanding check, the number 197, the amount 450, because the check was replaced and it was not yet presented at the bank for payment, so it will still be reflected again under our current BRS. And we move to information G. Information G, a check drawn by a debtor, J. Taylor, was dishonored by the bank due to insufficient funds. The check was received in settlement of his debt of 375 rand. 25 discount was allowed to Taylor. Right? So 25 rand discount was allowed to Taylor. Right? So this is a dishonor check. Immediately when you deal with a dishonor check, this check was now cancelled or is to be cancelled. In which journal? Normally in the CPJ, but now we are calculating our correct bank account balance. Then this check will go into the credit side of the bank account. Now you might ask, how come 350? It is 350 because, remember, here it reflects that 375 was the debt, and then a 25 rand discount was allowed to Tyler. So we actually received a check of 350 from Tyler. Now, there's no money in the bank account of Tyler. We cannot receive that money. So what do? We will make an entry on the credit side of our bank account there of that 350 to show that we are not going to receive it because it's insufficient. Right? Tyler has insufficient funds. We move to the next one. Right, we move now to information H. Information H, check number 183 for 1,450 issued to SIPO distributors appeared on the bank statement. The check was, however, recorded as 1,540 in the cash payments journal. Right? So it's check number 183. For what was it? It was for 1,450 issued to SIPO distributors, appeared on the bank statement. The check was, however, recorded as 1,540 in the cash payments journal. Now, when we look at these two figures, we can see clearly there's an error. Now, number one, what do? You look at the difference. You look at the difference. All right? When you get a difference there, the difference will be a 90 rand. And then where do you take that 90 rand? To your bank account on the debit side. Right? To your bank account on the debit side. Because this check was overstated in the CPJ. It was overstated in the CPJ. Right? When we look, it's 1,450 the check, but it's written as 1,540. So it has been overstated. You look at the difference, right? Where was it overstated? In the cash payment journal. So you cannot take this again to the cash payment journal. You have to take it now to the CRJ, the difference. Now remember, when you do the bank account, that difference will be entered on the debit side of your bank account. There is it, 90 rand, because the debit side represent the CRJ represent the debit side of your bank account. So it's also 1 mark for that. We move to our next information, which is information I. Right? Information I. A tenant, M. Mkwati, had deposited his rent, 1,800, for May 2015 directly into the current account. Now you see the tenant has deposited this amount directly into our bank account. We will not know about this amount until the bank statement comes. So now here we have the bank statement. It shows that the tenant has deposited 1,800 straight into our account. So we need to update our books. Right? We need to update our books. This amount will go into your CRJ. But now remember the CRJ, which side does it represent of the bank? It represents the debit side. So there's the 1,800 on the debit side to show that our bank will increase with that 1,800. You will also be awarded 1 mark for that. All right. Because the tenant deposited that directly into our bank account, we will not know about it until the bank statement comes. Right. Then the next information is J. Bank charges amounting to 345 rand was charged by the bank. Right. So this entry, we will only know about it when the bank statement comes. Then we need to update our journals with it. So, but now we are not doing a journal. We do the correct bank balance using a T account. So where will that figure go of the bank charges? It will then go to the credit side. 345, there's it there on the credit side. It's on the credit side because CPJ represents the credit side of our bank account. Right. That was also 1 mark for this figure. Right. Then we go to the next information, information K. Right, information K, a deposit of 1,450 appeared on the bank statement. This was incorrectly recorded in the account of the business. The bank will correct their error. So the bank needs to correct this error. Right? Now where will we do this? We will do it on the BRS. So when we go to our BRS, this amount will go to the debit side of the BRS as what? A debit incorrect deposit by bank. A debit incorrect deposit by the bank, 1,450. You were also awarded 1 mark. When we look at our next information, information L, on the 31st of May 2015, the bank statement showed a credit balance of 200 rand. The bank statement shows a balance of 200 rand. Normally, what do we do with that amount? This amount, we take it to our BRS as what? In the current BRS, as credit balance of bank statement. There's the 200 rand there. Because this is the balance as per our bank statement. So, we've used all those information, right? And then when we look at our bank ledger account, where we had to calculate the correct bank balance, right? We have now on the debit side, there's your amounts there, 1,350 plus 2,050 plus 90 plus the 1,800. Right? You add all these together. Then you will also add the credit side items all together. 100 rand, the opening balance, the 12,380 from the CPJ, opening totals, the 1,630, the 350 of the dishonor check, the 345, right? You add it together. When you do so, you'll discover that this side is bigger than your debit side. Sorry, it's smaller than your debit side. Then in the ultimate end, when you take your debit side, subtract your credit side, you will end up with a favorable balance of 4,475. There you will also be awarded a mark for that. And then for saying it's a favorable balance, you will also be awarded a mark for that. Right? Okay. Now, if you did not want to use the T account, you could have done it according to this method, this way, arithmetically. You start with your debit figures, or the figures on the CRJ side. Right, so you start with your 15,340, which we have written here on the debit side. That entry, it's your CRJ total. Then you also include the 2,050 of a check that was issued as donation to one of the soup kitchens, but now the check had to be stopped, and now we cancel it by making an entry in the CRJ, so it will add there. And then this 90 rand, remember it was the 90 rand of the difference between the check that was issued and when it was written into the CPJ, it was overstated with a 90. So that overstated amount in the CPJ, you will take that difference to the CRJ. So you add in there. Right? Then we have that direct deposit from the tenant. Right? The tenant who deposited this 1,800 directly into our bank account. You add it in there as well. Okay? Now when we go to the credit side of the bank account, we know it's the CPJ, right? But we will start with that negative 100. Where does this negative 100 come from? The negative 100 come from an opening balance or balance as per bank account when we use the information A from the bank reconciliation statement, whereby we said these two credits together, subtract the debits, then we ended up having a negative 100, which is an unfavorable bank balance, right? So we start with it there negatively, right? Then all the other amounts that are going into your CPJ, we'll open a bracket. Then we start with the total coming from the CPJ. You will add the 1,630, right? And then you will also add the 350, remember the dishonored check that we've received from a debtor, right? Then we also plus the 345, which was the bank charges. All these figures, we add them together, and then all these figures, we add them together, right? Subtract that one from there, and then subtract this total that you've received there. In the ultimate end, you'll get this favorable balance, 4,475. So it's an operational mark for that one, and a mark for a favorable balance. Right. That is the end of your BRS. Right. BRS is one of the easiest topic that you are repeating from last year. You've done it. Again this year you are doing it. So it's actually a revision on it. Now we move to the next question here, which is 1.1.2, whereby they say Simpue traders required, what's required from us? All right. This next question was based on B. Prepare the bank reconciliation statement on the 31st of May 2015 for 7 marks. Remember, I've done it already simultaneously with the bank account, right? And this is what happened. We had that credit balance as per bank statement, 200, 1 mark for it. Then we have a credit outstanding deposit, 8,730, 1 mark for it. Then we have a debit outstanding deposit. These debit outstanding deposits were listed. Number 153,925. Where does this one come from? It comes from the bank reconciliation statement of the previous month. There is it, right? Okay, 925. It did not appear on the bank statement. So again, we show it in the current BRS there. right? And then number 191 is that check that was reissued because it got lost, and then we reissued it, and it's post-dated on the 11th of June 2015. Then we have number 197, 450, right? It's 1 mark for that. Then we have that error, which we corrected, okay, right? Then this is the balance as per bank account, which we received from question 1.2.1, okay? Or you add this side, it gives us 8,930, subtract all these ones there, all these debits, then you also get 4,475. Both sides must be the same. Okay. So that's the end of our BRS. We will now move to the next question under the same heading, reconciliations. Now we look at debtors reconciliations and internal control. 1.1, Groenewald Traders, right? Groenewald Traders sells cooking pots for cash and on credit. Their credit terms are 30 days. They are budgeting that 80% of their debtors will adhere to the credit terms, right? So they give 30 days to pay back, and then 80% of what they've sold on credit, they will collect. Or 80% of that was sold on credit, the debtors will adhere to that credit term of 30 days. Right. Now what is required? They say 1.2.1, briefly explain why the balance of the debtors control account should correspond with the total of the list of debtors. You say why they should correspond. Okay. When we look at our response here, this is also a question that frequently appears in the question papers, right? There, because the debtors control account is a summary of all debtors accounts in the debtors ledger. Or you could have also said it is prepared from the same set of information or from the same documents, right? So for that answer, you will be awarded 2 marks, right? You'll be awarded 2 marks. Okay. Now we move to the next question, 1.2.2. 1.2.2. It says, calculate the correct closing balance of the debtors control account on the 31st of May 2015 for 5 marks. Okay. I'm also going to do it simultaneously with 1.2.3, where it says prepare a correct list of debtors of Groenewald Traders on the 31st of May 2015. Show all calculations for 12 marks. So these two questions, I will do them simultaneously. Right, now we need to look at our set of information. Excuse me. Right, our information, we have A, the debtors age analysis schedule for April 2015, right? So there's our age analysis. The total of debt is 177,500, current is 33,700, and then 30 days 24,300, 60 days 74,600, and 90 days 44,900. Right. Then B, you have balances according to the debtors ledger on 31st May 2015. These are the balances. Each debtor, how much they owe, right? what were their credit limits, right? And then here we have CD. C is a balance of the debtors control account on the 31st of May 2015. 157,300 is that balance. Sorry, 157,300 is that balance, right? Okay. Then we have D. The following errors and omissions were discovered and must be corrected. These are now the information pertaining errors that we must correct. Right. So 1.2.3 and 1.2.2, I'm going to do them simultaneously. Here we calculate the debtors control account, and then here we need to prepare a correct list of debtors of Groeneval traders on 31st May. We need to show all calculations. So those two I'm to do it simultaneously. Right. Firstly, in the debtors control account, right? In the debtors control account, okay, we did not do a leisure account here, but I'll demonstrate it for you verbally. Immediately in this account, we start with the opening balance, 157,300. Where does this one come from? It was given here for us as information C, balance of the debtors control account. We start with it. No marks were awarded for it. Okay. Now next we move to our information, the errors. They say the following errors and omissions were discovered and must be corrected. Right? They say the following errors and omissions were discovered and must be corrected. A. The debtors journal was under totaled by 4,100. So it means it was undercasted by 4,100. It's short with this much. So if it's short, where will we take it? We take it to the debtors control account where it's short. So it's 4,100. We add it to this amount, right? Remember this side, this amount is on the debit side. So this one will also go on the debit side if you've done a T account. So we add these two together, right? Next information, so it's 1 mark for it. You are awarded 1 mark for it. Next information, B, goods sold on credit to P Prince were incorrectly posted to the account of KJD, 7,700. Where is this error? It is not in the credit. It's not in the debtors control account, but it's in the debtors ledger. So let's go to the debtors ledger, because in the debtors ledger it's where you get the personal accounts of each debtor. Right? Okay. Right. Let's just check it again. They say B, goods sold on credit to P Prince were incorrectly posted to the account of KJD. Excuse me. So we need to take out this amount, 7,700. From whom? We need to take it out from KJD. So we will minus his account, right? And how much is it going to give us now? It's 21,100. 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that one there. Right. Then this entry will affect who? It will affect Prince. Right? Where are we? We are in the list. P Prince, he has an opening balance of 8,600. Right? He bought stuff on us on credit, but we took it erroneously to KJD. Now we need to minus that by KJD and add in Prince. Right? Next information, C. An allowance on damaged goods delivered to M. Silwane 1,500 was posted to the wrong side of his account. Right? Remember, this is a data. If we post something to the wrong side, it means then it was taken to the debit side instead of to the credit side, because this is a return. Returns will affect the credit side. Right? But now it was taken to the wrong side, to the debit side. So now, where was the error? In the personal account. So we don't need to take it to the debtors control account. So it will affect the debtors list, where we have the personal accounts. There's M. Silwani. He had an opening balance of 36,500. So we will subtract 1,500 first to do what now? To correct the error, because initially it was taken to the debit side, increasing his account instead of decreasing his account. So we correct that error. Then we make another minus 1,500 to make the correct entry of that return. Right? So in the ultimate end, or in the ultimate, you have now 33,500. 1 mark for it. There was no marks awarded for this calculation. Right. Or you could have just said minus the total of these two. Minus the total of these two. Okay? Right. Let's look at the next set of information. D. An invoice issued to B. Ruiz for 4,300 was not entered in the books of Groenewald. So this invoice was not entered at all. Right? To whom was it issued? To B. Ruiz, meaning B. Ruiz bought something on credit from us. So number one, it will affect our debtors control account. Right? So in our debtors control account, we will enter a plus 4,300 to increase that account. Right? And then they say no entry was made, so it will also affect our debtors list, where we have the personal account of Ruiz. Right? Our debtors list, where we have the personal account of Ruiz. B. Ruiz, 27,000 plus 4,300. Right? This 4,300, it was the invoice that was not entered. So add the two, then you get that figure. 1 mark each. Information E, they say a check for 8,700 received from P-Prince in settlement of an invoice for 9,000 was returned by the bank due to insufficient funds. This transaction was not entered. Right? This transaction was not entered. Right. Let us just repeat it again. A check for 8,700 received from P-Prince in settlement of an invoice for 9,000 was returned by the bank due to insufficient funds. This transaction was not entered. All right? So here, number one, it will affect our debtors control account. Right? We will plus 8,700. Okay? And then initially he owed us a 9,000. When we look at our information, he owed us a 9,000. So it means if he gives us a check of 8,700, a discount was given. And how much was it? It was 300 rand. When we look at the difference of 8,700 minus 9,000, so then you also say plus 300, right? Okay. So because the check was dishonored due to insufficient funds, now we take the debt of Prince back to its original state. 8,700 will increase, and then 300 will increase that discount. All right? Or you could have just said that 9,000 as it is. These two together, you could have just said again plus a 9,000. Right? So it's 1 mark for the 8,700, 1 mark for the 300. Or 2 marks when you have the 9,000. Last information, and then also it will affect the list whose account, it will affect Prince's account, right? Plus that 8,700 plus the 300. Or you could have again said 9,000 plus, right? Okay, because the check was dishonored due to insufficient funds. We're not going to receive that money anymore from Prince, so his debt will not decrease anymore. So we need to take it back to his original state, 9,000. When you add everything up there, you get 25,300. So it's 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 mark there, and an operational mark there, right? Or 2 marks for the 9,000. Go to the last information, F. Goods sold on credit to C dancer for 4,700 was correctly entered in the debtors journal, but was posted to his account in the debtors ledger as 7,400. When you look at these two figures, something is wrong, right? One is bigger than the other one. Look at the difference, right? Then how much is the difference there? The difference is 2,700. In whose account will it affect? It will affect Dance's account negatively because it was overstated, right? So minus 2,700 because Dance's account was overstated with it, all right? It's 4,700 instead of 7,400, right? So in here, we'll say negative 2,700, 1 mark. And then the difference between those two, this is the balance that he had minus that one. Then you have that answer, 63,500, 1 mark for it. Okay. Then now in the end, what do? You add everything up, then you get that answer. It's an operational mark for it. Altogether, it's 12 marks. Then, in your control account, you are done with all other information. So you add everything up. The result is 174,700. Look at the balance in here, in the control account. Look at the balance in your list. They are now the same. It's 174,700. In here, it's also 174,700. They now agree. Boys and girls, reconciliations is quite easy. Here you just need to do more questions on it in order for you to get used to the reconciliations. But the lesser you do it, the poorer you perform in it. So the most important thing is do more questions on it for you to master it. So we'll be going for a quick break. We'll be back. Thank you. Welcome back, boys and girls. We are still continuing with the question on reconciliations. Right, now we proceed to question 1.2.4. Here it says, refer to information A and B below and answer the following questions. A says, does Groenewald Traders have effective control over their debtors? Explain by quoting figures to motivate your answer. Give 2 separate reasons. Right? Now let's go to our information. They say we must refer to A and B. Right? When we look at A, it's the analysis, H analysis, debtors H analysis. When we look at B, it is our balances per each debtor. Right? Now they want us to tell if Groenewald is keeping effective control over his or her debtors. Right. The information that you're going to need to answer that question is right there at the beginning. They said Groenewald Traders sell cooking pots for cash and on credit. Their credit terms are 30 days, right? So the credit terms are 30 days. Now, if he keeps effective control over his debtors, then all of them should adhere to this then. So now let's go and check, all right? When you look at the H analysis, A, the total amount here, it's 175,500. Current is 33,700. And then 30 days is 24,300. So everything there is current, and 30 days, they are adhering. But when we look at this side, 60 days and 90, it clearly shows there's a problem. It clearly shows that there's a problem with controlling the debtors, right? When you add these two together, they give you 119,500. Okay? So let's answer. Does he keep effective control? Number one, it's no. Right? So there, it's no. It's 1 mark for that, no. So now we need to explain and also quoting figures. Here we say, okay, 119,500 of the 177,500, right? Which is 68% or 67, 68% of the debtors exceeds the payment period, right? So 119,500 of the 177,500, which is 68% of his debtors, they are exceeding the payment period or the payment term, which is 30 days, right? So these ones here, they are exceeding. So it shows that there is no effective control. Or you could have said only 32% of the debtors keep to the credit limit or credit terms. Only 32% of the debtors keep to the credit terms. Now, where does this 32% come from? It's when I add these two together. When I add these two together, right, which gives you 58,000 rand. Now, the 58,000 rand of the 177,500, it's that 32%, right? It's that 32%. So it is 1 mark there, and then your 2 marks. Here, the center point is payment period, and then your credit terms. You must mention these two things, all right? You must also show your figures. You're quoting your figures, then you get your 2 marks for that, right? Or for 1 mark, if you stated 119,000, if you stated 119,500 is still outstanding, right? Or you could have said 58,000 was received on time, right? 58,000 was received on time. Where does the 58 come from? It is here by the H analysis, the 33,700 plus the 24,300 together. This was received in time. And then the 119 is these two columns here. They are still outstanding, right? Okay, that is 1 mark each. Or you could have used the information here from your debtors list. Let's check. M. Slwane, the amount due is 36,500, right? But what is the limit? 30,000. So can you see that Slwane is exceeding his or her limit with a 6,500? So it also indicates that there's no clear control here. When we look at the other one, C. Dancer, 66,200 is what he owes us, but now the credit limit is 40,000. Can you also see the credit limit has been exceeded here, right? So now for these responses, you get 1 marks. If you say Slwane is exceeding a credit limit with 6,500, and then when you look at C. Dancer, has also exceeded his credit limit by 26,200. Those are 1 marks, 1 marks. Right. All right. Then now we move to question 1.2.4. 1.2.4b, it says, state 2 actions a company could take in order to collect outstanding debts from debtors faster. Right? This is also one of the questions that keep on appearing. Here you can issue monthly statements to remind your debtors. You can send out reminders through text messages, which is SMS. You can allow discounts to those who are making prompt payments or who are paying on time. You can charge interest on overdue accounts, right? And then you can also stop selling to debtors until overdue accounts are settled. And then here you can be awarded 2 marks for any 2. 2 marks for any 2. So that is the end of our reconciliation questions. We move now to the next question, which is question 2 of the June paper 2015. All right. Now question 2 of the June 2015 paper. There it says, question 2, company transactions and VAT. How many marks? 40 marks. You do it in 24 minutes. Right. 2.1, notes to financial statement. They say, consider the given descriptions 2.1.1 to 2.1.4 and choose from the block below the relevant notes to which each will be placed in notes to the financial statement. Right? So here you are given possible answers. Right? Possible answers in this block. And then 2.1.1, rent income received 1 month in advance. Now from all these items, possible answers here, where will this go? This is income received in advance. Okay, then your response should be trade and other payables. Right? Your response should be trade and other payables. How much do you earn for that? 1 mark. Right? Next, fixed deposit matures within 6 months. Right? There's your possible answers. Where will you take that one? You will take it to cash and cash equivalents. It's also 1 mark for it. Right? 2.1.3, packing material on hand at the end of the financial year. Right? Where will you take that? It will go to the inventory. Right? It will go to the inventory, 1 mark. And then next, 2.1.4, a deposit of water and electricity. Where do you take it? To trade and other receivables. It's 1 mark. Now a reservation has also been made that if you take it to the cash and cash equivalents, it will also be accepted. Right? So all that, you will earn 4 marks for all those ones. Right? That one was also an easy question. We move now to 2.2, company transactions required. For each transaction, use the table provided to show the account debited, account credited, and amount in the general ledger. There was an example given to you. Water and electricity account paid, 1,200. Account debit, water and electricity, account credit, bank, and then the amount 1,200. All right. Now let's look at our question. We are given the transactions. Right? 2.2.1, the income tax for the year was calculated at 425,000 for 2 marks. Which account will be debited? Which account will be credited? Immediately, number 1, there's your first account, you have income tax. Did we pay for it or was it just calculated? It was just calculated, so bank fall away. We will have now the 2 accounts, which is account debit, income tax, right? And then account credit, it will be SARS income tax, okay? 1 mark for each there, right? Right? And then next question, paid the interim dividends 56,000 rand. Right? We are paying dividends, right? So account debit will then be dividends, right? The account debit will be dividends or ordinary share dividends, right? Then account credit, we've paid, the bank should decrease, it's bank, right? Okay, right. So 1 mark each there. 2.2.3, bought back 35,000 ordinary shares from a shareholder at 6 Rand 50 a share. The company's average share price is 5 Rand 90 a share. All right. Immediately when you are buying back shares, you have 4 accounts here. The first account to be debited will be share capital. You decrease your share capital account. And then your other account will be bank, to be decreased. Right. Now what will the amount be? What will the amount be? Right? Here we look at how many shares were repurchased or how many shares were bought back. 35,000 shares were bought back. But now we will multiply it with the average price. What is the average price? 5 Rand 90. Multiply that with the average price. Then under amount, you should have 206 Rand 500 Rand. 206 500. You took the 35,000 ordinary shares, multiply them with the average. All right. Then I said it's 4 accounts, so those are the first 2 accounts. All right. Debit share capital, credit bank. Next, you will debit retained income, 1 mark, and then credit bank, 1 mark. All right. Now for the amount, what do? You will now take the 35,000 and then you multiply it with the amount above. You take the 6 Rand 50 minus the 5 Rand 90, right? That figure you get, you'll multiply it with the 35,000 ordinary shares. Then you get your amount of 21,000. You get your amount of 21,000. Okay? Right? Then 2.2.4, a final dividend of 120 cents per share was declared on 200,000 issued ordinary shares. So here dividends are declared. What are our 2 accounts there? Number 1, you will debit dividends on ordinary shares, and then you'll credit shareholders for dividends. Right? Then the amount will be, you take the 120 cents, multiply by the 200, then your final answer will be 240,000 Rand. That is the accounting equation for 13 marks. Okay? So we move to the next question. The next question is based on VAT 2.3.1. They say, choose a word or phrase from the alternatives provided to complete the sentence listed below. Write only the word or term next to the question number A to D in your answer book. Okay. Again, you are given a list of possible answers, and then number A is output VAT. Okay, A will be output VAT. Okay, it's 2 marks. Is VAT collected from customers? Number B is VAT exempted, 2 marks. Fees payable for education is an example of a exempted good or services. Then for C, 2 marks, evasion. Tax evasion is illegal and punishable by law. Number D is input VAT. Input VAT is VAT paid when goods are purchased by the business. So it's 2 marks for all those, and you'll earn 8 marks for it. Right? Then now we move to right. We move now to 2.3. (2.3.2) Allen Pies is a busy takeaway situated in an industrial area. Although the annual income from sales is less than 1 million rand, Allen, the owner, has registered the business for VAT. All right, he's earning less than 1 million, but he's registered the business for VAT. First question. A. Calculate the amount of VAT that Allen will either pay to or receive from SARS. You can make use of a VAT control account. All right. So now let's go to the information. All right. There's our information. Okay. Cash and credit sales, including VAT. All right. So VAT is included in here. All right. 87,210. Okay. So if VAT is included, it means you need to take this amount, multiply it by 14 over 114. The answer you get there will be the VAT. Okay? Remember, we need to use the VAT control account. So there's your VAT control account. There's your debit side. There's your credit side. All right? So now when you say that 8,000, when you take your calculator and you say 87,210, then you multiply it by 14, divide by 114. Your answer is 10,710. That 10,710, you take it to the credit side of your VAT control account as your output VAT. All right? Next, total purchases of goods excluding VAT. So it means in this figure, VAT has been excluded. Okay, so how much VAT? So multiply by 14, the base become 100 because there's no VAT included there. Then the answer that you get there when you take your calculator, 52,000 multiply by 14, divide by 100, it's 7,280. That 7,280 in your VAT control account, you will take it to the debit side of your VAT control account. That is input VAT, 7,280. It's 2 marks for it. Right. Next, wages paid to staff. No, that one you ignore. Telephone, water and electricity, including VAT. It's 10,032 rand. So again, you multiply this by 14. How much VAT is included? Is VAT included or excluded? They say VAT is included. So it will be 114. Right? So it's input VAT. The answer is 175. Right? Next, VAT on old warming oven sold. It's 336. So this is already VAT. Where do I take it? I take it to the credit side of my VAT control as output. There's it, 336. It's 1 mark. Next information. Discount allowed to debtors for early settlement. This discount is 1,425. So there you multiply by 14, divide by 114. Right? The answer you get When you take your calculator, you take 1,425 times 14 divided by 114. The answer is 175. Now that 175, we take it to the debit side of VAT control as input VAT. So it's 175. Okay. All right. Next. We move to VAT on goods taken for personal use. VAT on goods taken for personal use. It's already calculated, 105. Right? So there's VAT. You take it to the credit side of VAT control account. It's 105 there. Right? It's already VAT. You do not need to do a calculation. Okay? Right. Now in the end, what do? You add this side, subtract that side, then you have 2,464. 2,464. Okay, so this will be VAT due to SARS. This will be VAT due to SARS. You get 1 mark for that one. Now if you did not want to use the control account, you could have done them separately. You take your output VAT figures, right? And then your input VAT figures, right? Subtract the 2, and the answer you get will be due to SARS, 2,464. You have an option with these two transactions here at the bottom. Discount allowed to debtors for early settlements. You can either take it to input and plus, or you take to output. Right? With a VAT on goods taken for personal use, you can also take it to output, or you can take it to the input. For example, here, this 175, you can either put it in here in your calculation, but then you'll add with it. And then you take the 105 to the output, and then you'll add with it, if you do not want to treat it as this. Right. That is your VAT. We look at the next question based on VAT. They say, explain why Billy benefits from being registered as a VAT vendor. Quote figures to support your answer. Right. Firstly, he owes SARS now he owes SARS 2,464. Right. Now this amount is the amount that we got from answer A. We transfer it as it is to this question. Okay? Now, if he was not registered for VAT, then he cannot charge VAT, although he will be paying VAT when he purchases goods and or services, right? So when he purchases goods or services. Okay? So he paid 7,280 when he purchased goods and 1,232 on essential services. Right? For this response, it was 2 marks. Then we move to C. Dodgy dealers, one of Allen's suppliers, offered Allen goods valued at 9,750 for 6,900. He stated that Allen must pay cash and he will not issue an invoice. What advice would you offer Allen? So here you give a valid explanation and must mention the ethical issue about this question. Number 1, bullet 1. It is unethical to engage in such a transaction. So firstly, it is unethical to engage in such a transaction. You can get a mark for it. And number 2, dodgy clearly wants to evade taxes, which is wrong, which is illegal. You can also get a mark for that. Getting caught will result in fines and bad publicity. So it's also 1 mark there. Good business practice must be upheld. Integrity, and then transparency and honesty. So any of these marks there would have awarded you 2 marks. Right, so then we move to question 3. Wait. Right. Then we move to question 3 of the question paper. Question 3 of the question paper is based on company financial statements, internal control, ethics and corporate governance. This is 55 marks, 33 minutes. They say Lingana Limited is a public company with an authorized share capital of 750,000 ordinary shares. The information relates to financial year ended 28 February 2015. Required, fill in the missing amounts on the income statement provided. All right. So you will be provided with an income statement. All right. You were provided with an income statement. Right. So the income statement you were given. Number 1, you had to do sales. Okay. You had to do sales. Now the sales figure, the 700,000 was not given. Okay. Nor the 500,000. But we need to start somewhere. Let's start with the sales. Look at our information. When we look at our information, right, in here there's nothing about sales. Okay, nothing about sales. There it's about shares. Right, there's about shares by B. Right, and tax and interest on loan. Right, and the buyback of shares. Right, there is about dividends, net profit, provision for bad debt, your rent, your insurance, your audit fees. The following financial indicators were calculated at the end of this year. Operating profit as a percentage of sales is 8%. So they say our operating profit as a percentage of sales is 8%. Gross profit percentage, 40%. Okay. So if I have this financial indicator, then it means to get this answer would be then easy. They say operating profit is 8% of sales. My operating profit was given there as 560. So the 560 multiplied by 100 divided by 8 will give me the 7 million. Okay, the 7 million. Right? So because they said operating profit as a percentage of sales is 8%, then I can easily say operating profit multiplied by 100 divided by the 8% will work me straight back to the 7 million of sales. Now to get the cost of sales, we will make use of the percentage given here, the gross profit percentage, 40%, whereby we say answer that I got here multiply by 100 divide by 140 gives me the 5 million. So it's 2 marks. 1 is an operational mark. Right? Then thereafter, the difference between these two will give me my gross profit. Then remember, this cost of sales should always be in brackets. So the difference there will give me my 2 marks. Okay? Next, we are given the operating income as 55,000. So I add these two, then I get gross income. So for that one, you also get an operational mark. Okay. Then the operating expenses were not given. I had to calculate them. Right? Now I'm given the operating profit. I will take this 2,055,000. Then I subtract the 560,000 as my operating profit. Then this answer will be 1,495,000. It's operational mark there, right? The difference between these two. Next, the interest income was in our information A. In information A, interest on fixed deposit, 15,800. We take it as it is there. transfer in there. Okay, right. Now we need to get our net profit before interest expense. We add the 560 plus the 15,000, then we get that answer, operational mark. This one was a accurate mark. Next, we go for interest expense. Interest expense, we look in the information Roman number 3. There you have your opening balance, you have your repayment. The interest on loan is not given, we are given the closing balance, right? So the difference between this year will give you the 33,000 there. All right, so it's 2 marks, right? Then now we move to the next one, net profit before income tax. How do we get that one? Net profit before income tax. It's this minus the 33,000. The 575,800 minus the 33,000. Then you get that answer. Or we will look at our income tax, right? Income tax, there's information pertaining it. It is information number, Roman number 4. They say income tax for the year was calculated to be 162,800. This must be taken into account. Right, so that will be your tax for the year. You slot it in your income statement. You slot it in there by your income statement. Put it in brackets. Right. Then net profit after tax was also given. The net profit after tax was also given there as information number 6, Roman number 6. Net profit after tax amounts to 380 after adjustment G, H, I, and J was taken into account. That 380 is your net profit after tax. You slot it in your income statement at the bottom there, net profit after tax. All right. So you have these two, then you can also get that one by working back. Okay. So that one minus that one gives you that one. Right. Now 3,880 plus that one can also give you 542,800, because when you work down you subtract it, to work back you will add. Right, that's the income statement. Now we look at question 3.2.1. Here we need to do the trade and other receivables note. The trade and other receivables note. In this note you start with your debtors control, which is the 63,000. It is given in our information there. Debtors control 63,000. Then next you will have your provision for bad debts, 3% of debtors control. So you take that amount, multiply by 3%, then you get your 1,890 as your provision. So difference between these two, so 1 mark each, difference between these two gives you net trade debtors. Right? The difference between those two, net trade debtors, there was no mark awarded for that one. Next, you get your prepaid expense, which is the insurance. Right? The prepaid expense, insurance. It is adjustment number, Roman number, what is now? Right? So an additional insurance policy on plant and equipment was taken out on the 1st of October 2014. The annual premium of 6,720 was paid. Remember, our timeline ends on the 28th of February 2015. So it has started on the 1st of March 2014. But now all of a sudden here we take out another insurance premium of on the 1st of October 2014. And it's an annual premium, right? It's an annual premium. So the first thing that you do is, okay, it's an annual premium, 6,720 on your calculator, right? You can divide it by 12 to get your monthly insurance. So the monthly insurance is 560, right? So this insurance was taken out on the 1st of October 2015, which is still part of our financial year. So from October 2014 until February 2015, how many months is it? When we count, is October, November, December, January, February. Did I count right? It's October, November, December, January, and February. It gives you 6 months. Yeah? So 6 months of this 560. 6 months of the 560, it's fine in our timeline. But for the other 6 months, it is in advance. All right? For the other 6 months, it is in advance. So the 560 multiplied by 6. No, wait, sorry, I did not calculate correct now. It's from October 2014 until February 2015, it's 5 months. So it's October, November, December, January, February. So it's 5 months. Of the 5 months is correct in our timeline. Right? But then the rest of the 7 months of this annual premium, it's in advance. So the 560 that we've calculated, multiplied by 7, gives us 3,920. Right? It gives us 3,920. There is it there. Okay? Right. Then we move to the next one, accrued income. Accrued income, it's on the rent income. Rent income, it's adjustment number, Roman number, what is this now? Roman number 10. The rent for February 2015 was not yet received. So the rent for February was not yet received. Okay, right? So we go to our information, look for rent income. The rent income is 95,150, right? But now rent for February was not yet received. Okay, so it means this was for how many months? 11 months, because we work with a 12-month period. So when we take the 95,150 divided by 11, so monthly it's 8,750. Wait, monthly is 8,650. So that 8,650, it is what is accrued. So accrued income, rent income, 8,750. Right. The next one, we look at SARS income tax. SARS income tax, we go to the information, we look. SARS income tax, it's there as a provisional payment, 170,000 as a provisional payment, right? But how much is the income tax for the full year? For the full year is 162,800, right? Then the difference between the two gives you that the SARS amounts to 7,200, which is still due, right? So we still owe, SARS still owe us 7,200, okay? SARS owe us 7,200, or we've paid 7,200 more to SARS. That's why it will fall under trade and other payables, right? Everything we add, and then we get a total of 80,880, all right? And then this is a part mark, and then SARS is also a part mark, but the rest are accurate marks. You also earn mark there for your provisional payment and for your full SARS income tax amount. The difference there, you get a part mark. All right. I'd like us to go back again to the insurance one. Okay, right? The insurance, because I feel I did not do justice to it. Insurance, additional insurance policy on the plant and equipment was taken out on the 1st of October 2015, right? The annual premium of it is 6,720. It was paid, okay, right? But we have a period of 28 February 2015 ending. It has started on the 1st of March 2014, right? So 1st of October 2014 falls in our timeline. So from the 1st of October 2014 until February 2015, how many months is it? It's 5 months. So the rest of the other months, because it's an annual premium, the rest of the other months is 7. Now what do I do when I get an annual figure? Right? I say 6,000 720 divided by 12 to get my monthly premium. And then how many months were in advance? 7 multiplied by 7. Then you get 3,920. That's where you got that 3,920 for 2 marks. All right. All right. All right. For the next 10 minutes remaining, we will quickly do the ordinary share capital account, which is question 3.2.2, ordinary share capital account. Here we start with ordinary shares on the 1st of March 2014. This is supposed to be 2014. It's given in our information there, right? They were issued at the beginning, so I slot it in there. Next, we bought additional shares, or additional shares were issued on the 31st of October 2014 at 5 Rand each. This has been correctly recorded, right? So it means during the year, 100,000 ordinary shares issued at 5 Rand, multiply these two, then I get 500,000. Okay? Now, they said this 100,000 was correctly recorded, meaning in this 2,100,000, that 500,000 is included in there. Now, what do I do to get my opening balance? I open a bracket there to show the examiner. 2,100,000 is what I started with, minus the one that I've issued during 500,000 rent that I've obtained. The difference gives us 1,600,000. 1 mark, right? This is a part mark. So 1 mark there, 1 mark there, 1 mark there, and then you get your full marks if you have 1,600,000 as your final answer. Right? Then we go to information number 2 there. On the 15th of February 2015, the business bought back 25,000 ordinary shares from disgruntled shareholder for 475. This transaction was not taken into account. These shareholders do not qualify for a final dividend. Right? So here it's a buyback of shares. How many shares? 25,000. Put it in brackets. All right? It's ordinary shares repurchased. Now what do? We need to calculate average price. Right? Right? So the average price, we take the 2,100,000 of our capital divided by the 500,000, right? Which is 400,000 plus 100,000. Then the answer will be 420 as your average. Multiply it with the 25, then you get the 105 as capital that is repurchased. Put it in brackets. Then the result here is 400,000 plus 100,000 minus 25,000. Then you get 475,000. Right? Always put this in brackets there to show it's a repurchase. Then that answer, 1,600,000 plus your 500,000 minus 105,000 gives you your 1,995,000. These two operational marks and that one as well operational mark all together give you 11 marks. There you have another operational mark. Right. Now we quickly move to the retained income account. Retained income account. Opening balance, it's given as 258,000 from the information, right? When you look at your information, there is it there, retained income, 1st March. Next, the net profit after tax, it's also given in our adjustment there. There is it. You slot it in there. Then the repurchase of shares is the 25,000 that was bought back. Then multiply by that above figure. Now, how do we get that above figure? Remember, we've calculated the average for 420 cents, as 420 cents. But at how much were these shares repurchased? They were repurchased at 475. So the 475 minus your average price that you got there will give you the 55 cents. Then multiply with the repurchase, then you get your answer there. Right? So whatever your average is there, you minus it with your repurchase price, then your answer you get here, according to your workings, you'll get your operational mark there. Now we go to ordinary share dividends. Ordinary share dividends, it is your interim dividends, 140,000 given as per information there. And then your final dividend, the final dividend, it is as per adjustment there. Final dividend of 25 cents per share was declared on 28 February 2010. This must be taken into account. So 25 cents of your shares that you have. Right? How many shares do you have now? You have 475 shares, 475,000 shares. Okay. Now you take that figure because here they clearly stated that these shares do not qualify for final dividends. All right, they say these shares do not qualify for a final dividend. That's why you've taken straight away the 475,000 multiplied by that 25 cents. But if they do qualify for final dividends, then you are not supposed to say 475 multiplied by the 25. You'll just take the 500,000 as they are, excluding the repurchase. All right. Next we have now that answer of 118,750, add it, then you get your ordinary share dividends, operational mark there. Okay, this was 2 marks. Okay, 2 operational marks, because we work with what you have from there, transfer in there, and then the difference of what you have here with what you have here with your repurchase price. We work with what you had there, transfer it there, multiply it with the 25 cents. All right. Then we go to the last one, the question 3.3. Then just check this answer should be 365,500. Right. 3.3, the internal auditor wanted the CEO that including his private entertainment expenditure under sundry expenses could cause problems for the business. All right. What gap principle is the internal auditor referring to when he expresses his concern? Is the business entity principle or rule? It's 2 marks for that one. Name 2 consequences for the business if the CEO does not take the advice of the internal auditor. Right now we can use any 2 for 4 marks. The external auditor would qualify the audit report. Right? The profit of the business would be understated, or shareholders would not be happy. Investors would not be confident in the business, right? So any of those, or you can also say credibility of the CEO would be questioned for 4 marks. And the last question, right? At the annual general meeting, the directors proposed that 250 be spent in uplifting the sporting facilities at the 3 local schools. Explain why such projects are considered by big companies and give 2 reasons, right? So any 2 reasons. Bullet number 1, you can say this is a corporate social responsibility or investment in the community to enhance goodwill, create a good or positive image of the company. It's to plow back to the company from which it gains profits. It's a BEE points for development. Tax will be deducted or it's tax deductible. That any of those, it's 4 marks. That is the end of my presentation on question 1, 2, and 3 of the June 2015 question paper. So matrix, remember, prepare well for your trial that's coming up as well as for your final. Prepare thoroughly and then surely you'll do well. All of the best with your studies.